Welcome back. I am Largo, and today we're going to check out another death battle video. I had a commenter suggestion recommend this one, so thank you very much for that. And I figured it's been a while since I checked out a death battle. Let's go ahead and do one. So this one's going to be Ben 10 versus Green Lantern. Now, a lot of you out there may know that I am a huge comic book fan, superheroes, all that kind of stuff. That's totally my jam. And DC Comics is kind of my area of expertise, if you will. So I will say that I know way more about Green Lantern, the characters who are Green Lanterns, the whole mythos of Green Lanterns. I know way more about that than I do about Ben 10. Now, I'm not going in completely in the dark when it comes to Ben 10. I do have a little bit of knowledge. I have seen some of the episodes, but I have not seen the whole thing, and the episodes I have seen are not in order. Based on what I know right now, I'm probably leaning towards giving it to Green Lantern, but let's see what they have to say.
For years, humans have gazed at the stars, contemplating the possibilities of first contact with an alien race. Will we exchange gifts of peace or weapons of war?
Weapons. Definitely weapons. Like these ones.
Ben 10, protector of Earth and wielder of the Omnitrix.
All right.
And the Green Lantern, galactic lawman and bearer of the power ring. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Benjamin Tennyson was just your average 10-year-old boy. He loved video games, hated school, and was prepared to have the most boring summer vacation ever until destiny fell from the sky.
Okay.
Upon discovering a strange crash-landed alien device, it stuck itself upon his wrist with secrets that it hid.
Now he's got superpowers. He's no ordinary kid. He's Ben 10. Sorry, Wiz. I just can't help myself. That theme song's so damn catchy.
This strange device was the Omnitrix, a portable library of intergalactic genetic data that can transform its user into a variety of different alien species.
Sounds like the perfect way to get freaky with some alien babes from all across the galaxy.
Well, you do you. But the cosmic warlord Vilgax had something different in mind. With the Omnitrix technology, he planned to create an army of superpowered aliens and conquer the universe.
Yeah, typical villain stuff. But old Hentai Face would have to wait, because Ben got the watch first and became a superhero. Well, okay, first he burned down a forest, but then he got busy with the hero stuff.
The Omnitrix contains a built-in radio, universal translator, distress signal, a self-defense pulse blast against anyone trying to force it off Ben's wrist, and, as a bonus, it can tell time.
1,912 DNA samples? Wow, okay. That is way more than 10. Okay, kind of makes me question why he's named Ben 10 if he's got over 1 million options to choose from. That's crazy.
And whenever Ben comes across a new alien he'd like to cosplay, it can scan their DNA so he can add them to his transformation collection. And he's got a ton to choose from. He's got alien forms that can control the elements like lightning, water, ice, earth, and fire with his very first transformation ever, Heat Blast, along with some just beautiful fire puns.
I'm totally hot.
You gotta respect the classics.
As Forearms, he's strong enough to create shockwaves with mere punches. As Accelerate, he can run fast enough to dodge lightning. As Diamond Head, he can survive massive explosions like they were nothing. But if you prefer brains over brawn like myself, he can increase his intelligence with alien forms like Brainstorm, who
Okay, so that's interesting. His base standard human form does affect his transformations. Interesting.
has an IQ of 1 nonillion. That's a 1 followed by 30 zeros, and more than 3 octillion times greater than the highest recorded IQ in history.
He can fly as Jet Ray, duplicate himself with Ditto, and eat his feelings away as Upchuck. Wiz, that's really not a healthy way to handle issues.
You know, you're right, Boomstick.
Yeah, he should really just stick to alcohol. And if he ever wants to suck for some reason, he's got Waka Trout, which is a fish with legs. And that's it.
Probably Ben's worst transformation, and that's saying a lot considering he has an alien literally named the Worst.
If old-timey horror movies are your thing, Ben can transform into every classic monster you can think of, because I guess zombies and werewolves were aliens all along. I knew it.
Through different forms, Ben can manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe, like gravity, radiation, time, and energy.
What? Gravity, radiation, time, energy. Okay, well, gravity, the strong nuclear force, the weak nuclear force, those are fundamental forces of the universe. I mean, we're talking real primordial nature stuff here, like gravity, like come on, dude. And time control, plus a million different DNA samples, that's a million options, man. That's a lot of variation and a lot to choose from, man.
Feedback, for instance, once absorbed the entirety of the Big Bang, and then fired it at a robot supervillain, creating a time loop and saving the universe.
Yeah, as he's got used to hero work, Ben's aliens started getting pretty insane. Like way big, who's basically a giant kaiju who can fire a cosmic ray from his chest, powerful enough to hurt a being made of pure energy. And let's not forget my personal favorite alien, Molestache. He's a mole who punches people with his mustache. You can't write that.
Truly a fearsome addition to Ben's massive arsenal. But contrary to the show's very specific title, Ben's Omnitrix doesn't just have access to 10 alien forms. In fact, it has 1,912.
That's insane.
He's no ordinary kid. He's Ben 1,912. Yeah, doesn't quite roll off the tongue like Ben 10, does it? Well, let's see if I can take one of these babies for a spin.
Where did you get that?
Don't worry about it. Whoa.
Well, the Omnitrix does have one drawback. It usually has an automatic cooldown period for a few minutes between transformations, because overuse can permanently disfigure the user's DNA.
Alright, forgot to say that 4 seconds earlier. If you'll excuse me, I need to pee out my face.
I'll fix this later. This cooldown would be a recurring issue for Ben until he discovered Master Control, a special code which, when input into the Omnitrix, just let him use it however he wanted.
And if he's ever on death's door, the watch will automatically pop him into whatever alien body it thinks he needs at the time to survive whatever's happening.
Wow, man, that's almost like the Marvel mutant Darwin who evolves on the fly to be able to survive whatever you throw at him. So this kind of almost not only acts like a Swiss Army knife of biological life forms, but is also equipped with a failsafe mechanism to transform him into whatever creature he needs to transform into to survive his current situation. So not only does it give him the free access to these powers and abilities, but there's also a subroutine built into the Omnitrix itself, acting as an emergency failsafe for when he's about to take fatal damage, I guess. I mean, that in and of itself is pretty interesting. Green Lantern rings have something that's kind of similar, but not to this extreme extent.
And there's one form that's almost always the best answer. Alien X. Born in the forge of creation beyond the multiverse itself, Alien X is a celestial sapient, the most powerful species in the universe.
He's basically a cosmic god who can punch planets to bits, fly faster than light, duplicate himself, control minds, use telekinesis, reverse time, warp reality, and even just straight up erase people from existence.
It takes a lot to get their attention, and that's fine. We don't want it.
Why not?
They could just blink, and we'd be gone.
Alien X is so tough, he survived the destruction of the entire universe by the Annihilarg and didn't feel a thing. Like, his durability was so through the roof, he didn't even realize total cosmic annihilation was happening right on top of him.
Based on rough estimates made by a NASA astrophysicist, the total mass energy of the universe in joules is 4.
Well, that doesn't seem very impressive.
Followed by 69 zeros.
Oh, there it is.
And to top it off, Ben as Alien X went and just remade an entirely new universe identical to the old one.
First of all, how the hell? Second, since he just made a copy universe, that technically means that all those characters we watched through the whole show are still dead. Damn, dude! Throw somebody a bone or something.
However, celestial sapiens are composed of multiple
Oh, wow. This almost looks like Marvel versions of Order and Chaos, the way they're depicted here. That's pretty interesting.
personalities, and if they can't unanimously agree on what action to take, which can take billions of years, all that power is basically useless.
But Ben convinced his extra personalities that that's a really goddamn stupid and he should have full control all the time, so it doesn't matter. Why doesn't he just go full Alien X all the time?
Well, a little variety doesn't hurt, right? Plus, even without his alien forms, Ben is pretty clever and has a knack for getting himself out of trouble, even when things get really weird.
And he's saved the universe more times than he can count. He's defeated Vilgax when he had the power of a Cthulhu god, ended the hybrid conspiracy, and whooped another celestial sapien, the Galactic Gladiator, by flying so fast he created a galaxy-sized black hole.
We can tell from the size of the black hole in relation to the galaxies in the background, as well as how long it took to create, that Alien X must have been flying
Bro, that's some Gurren Lagann shit at this point. Are you serious?
approximately 7 quadrillion times faster than light speed.
I get it, Wiz. Alien X is totally overpowered, but Ben doesn't keep any of those powers as a human.
Not much of a problem when the Omnitrix can instantly transform him fast enough to catch the Big Bang. The only thing truly holding Ben back throughout his hero career was his immaturity, being a 10-year-old and all.
Oh yeah, like that one time he messed with the Omnitrix and accidentally set it to self-destruct. After charging up for a few days, it would destroy the whole universe on its own. So that's not great.
Fortunately, Ben grew into a reliable and wildly successful hero by the time he reached the age of 16. He would continue his hero work into the future, eventually adopting the name Ben 10,000. The world can rest easy with Ben 10 as its first and best line of defense.
6-6 and Volcanus? What are they doing here?
About to get their alien butts kicked. That's what. Going hero.
That was Ben 10. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Ben 10 is way more powerful than I had any concept that he was. Some of his transformations are so powerful, and I'm not even talking about Alien X right now, that the whole Alien X thing. I'm not even taking this into consideration right now. Some of his other forms are so powerful and are able to control certain things or do certain things that it's just bonkers. It's mind-boggling, frankly. It seems like now I understand kind of where this initial idea came from. These two characters have very similar origin stories, if you will. They're basically both two regular people, regular human beings that have no superpowers whatsoever. And one day, out of nowhere, out of the blue, a crazy advanced piece of technology falls from the sky practically in their lap. And suddenly, boom, overnight, they are a superhero. So I can kind of understand where the initial spark of this idea came from. They have very similar origin stories, and they both end up basically being, protectors of the universe, space police, if you will. That being said, I think they diverge pretty hard after a certain point. I think there's a lot of things that a Green Lantern can do. I mean, a lot of things. You can get really creative with a Green Lantern ring. However, I think the Omnitrix definitely has the edge. The Omnitrix simply has more options, period. Flat out, it doesn't matter how you want to look at this scenario, the Omnitrix has more options. Let's go ahead and jump into Green Lantern, see what the boys have to say about Green Lantern. Now, I know way more about Green Lantern than I do about Ben 10, so unless they say something that I completely disagree with, we're going to try and slide through this pretty quickly and get right to the fight.
Hal Jordan was just your average, devilishly handsome ladies man and hotshot test pilot who discovered a crash-landed alien ship in the desert. Okay, so maybe he's not so average.
I'll say he found this guy Abin Sur dying in a crashed spaceship who gave Hal a little green ring before kicking the bucket.
And so, by reciting an ancient oath, Hal Jordan would become a Green Lantern.
Blackest day and blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evils might beware my power. Green Lantern's light.
The Green Lantern Corps is a universe-spanning law enforcement organization founded by the immortal Malthusians, also known as the Guardians of the Universe.
Hey, there's space Oompa Loompas.
More like leprechauns.
Okay, fine, whichever mythical creature you want.
No, I mean a group of them traveled to Earth centuries ago and literally evolved into modern-day leprechauns.
I knew they were real!
Anyway, the Green Lantern Corps has patrolled the known universe for 3 billion years, recruiting members of every shape and size.
Including a living planet, a sentient smallpox virus, some guy with an exploding volcano for a head, a living math equation, and a squirrel. Man, Even after all these years, Wiz, comics are weird.
Imagine what it felt like for Hal when he began training on the Guardian homeworld Oa.
That's one of the cool things that I always enjoyed about Green Lanterns. There's really no limit to who can be a Green Lantern. I mean, we're talking single cell organisms have been recruited into the Green Lantern Corps. And you can scale that all the way up to Mogo, which is an entire planet full of living creatures and plants and stuff that's sentient and is a Green Lantern. Basically, anything that's sentient can be a Green Lantern. And I think that's pretty neat.
Over time, he grew to be one of the Corps' greatest members and defender of the universe.
Just with that ring of his, it might look tiny, but if Mjolnir, Yoda, and years of therapy have taught me anything, it isn't the size that counts. It's what you do with it.
Right. The Green Lantern Power Ring is actually one of the most impressive weapons ever made. It's most well known for its ability to create hardened light constructs that function identically to what they're inspired by. Anything from boxing gloves to machine guns to an entire solar system. While a ring's wielder must be familiar with the object they're creating, they don't necessarily need to know all the ins and outs for it to function.
The ring's energy can boost Hal's strength and speed, and also protect him with a force field. He can shoot lasers, phase through objects, turn invisible, read minds, heal wounds, and fly through space faster than light.
The only true limit to a Power Ring's utility is its user's imagination, insofar as allowing the Green Lanterns to bend the rules of the universe to their whims. They can transmute matter and energy, manipulate time, form pocket dimensions, and warp the fabric of reality.
I will say that while the rings and the power of the Green Lantern is capable of doing some of the things they describe, some of these things are not normal. They're not normal, nor are they common for your average Green Lantern wielder to be able to do. You know, pocket dimensions, time travel, things like that. While it is a possibility, it is by no means something that's normal or average or something that every Green Lantern can do. That's not the case. These are exceptional feats for a Green Lantern.
And even though Abin Sur went out like a bitch, the ring makes a competent Green Lantern really tough to kill. It has built-in defenses to protect against mind control.
Yes and no. Green Lanterns have been on multiple occasions manipulated mentally through various means, whether through its direct telepathic control, whether it's through some kind of biological mind control spore, or through not even being mind controlled, simply by being tricked. Batman once tricked Hal Jordan into taking his ring off and not wanting to be a Green Lantern by setting a scenario up around him, which was completely false, but he broke Green Lantern's will, and without will, you can't use the ring. And Batman's got no superpowers at all. Mind control protection, I'm gonna have to put an asterisk on that and say that there's caveats to that, because it's not a blanket protection. It doesn't protect you from everything. Green Lanterns have been affected mentally by a variety of different things.
And it can sometimes yank its owner out of harm's way all on its own.
It can even defend against multiversal erasure events, like when Kilowog survived the Crisis on Infinite Earths.
That's right, this guy tanked a freaking retcon to the face. Whatever's in these rings, I want it in my dune buggy stat.
That would be pure, unfiltered willpower.
Yeah, how many miles to the gallon you think that is?
Okay, well, Green Lantern's ability stems from their own willpower. The stronger their will is, the more their ring can do.
So if willpower is green, does that make fear brown?
Yellow, actually, as dictated by the emotional electromagnetic spectrum, an energy field from which all emotion in the universe is derived.
Kinda like if the Force from Star Wars was a rainbow of feelings, and Hal's got more willpower busting out than anybody else, which makes him really damn powerful, and really damn reckless.
Green Lantern's got this.
His enormous power has led to his possession by Parallax, an entity of fear, and caused entire planets to fall. But it's been said that knowing true fear made Hal's will even stronger than before.
Like when he went up against this blue dickweed Krona, who took control of all these space animal gods that embodied the different rainbow spectrum emotions.
Including Ion, the green basking shark of willpower. Yes, I know. Hal was able to overturn Krona's plan, which meant overpowering the literal embodiment of all willpower in the universe, with his own willpower.
That sounds, impressive?
Impossible?
Illogical?
Impressible? Hal's been knocked through a planet, blasted by a supernova, and punched by the reality-shattering Superboy Prime.
He was fast enough to fly to Earth from a planet at the edge of the universe. And factoring how DC's observable universe is at least 100 trillion light years in diameter, Hal must have been flying well over 1.5 quintillion times the speed of light. And without the ring, Hal once had to pilot a ship traveling over light speed manually. As in, there were planets and stars in his way, and Hal had to steer.
And since he can match the god of willpower, he can pull off crazy will feats that other Green Lanterns have done, like when Kyle Rayner held back a Big Bang.
But to be fair, the power ring is not perfect.
Before they get into the imperfections of the power ring, there are different types of lantern rings out there. Most of the lantern rings that you see, that most of the lanterns have, are actually technology. Their rings are not magic. They're not made out of energy or willpower. They're actually a piece of technology. And that technology has flaws. Maybe they'll get into it. Let's see.
It does carry a finite charge, and should he expend too much energy too quickly, he'll need his power battery to refuel.
Also, if his opponent can ruin his willpower, or even just his belief in himself, Hal won't be able to use the ring.
That's exactly what I was talking about earlier.
Which is lame.
Yeah, these powers are pretty complex. Batman once had a plan to trick Kyle into thinking he was blind, and because he believed he was, the ring reacted to his thoughts and actually made him blind.
But Hal's too badass to let a little sadness take him out for good. Hell, he's got the cojones to arrest God. But Wiz, I gotta address the yellow elephant in the room. Why the hell are Green Lanterns weak to yellow?
They were. It's not a thing anymore.
Ages ago, yes, the Green Lanterns couldn't affect anything yellow because parallax and...
Technically, the very original yellow lanterns couldn't affect anything yellow or made of wood. So in theory, you could kill one of the early Green Lanterns with a number 2 pencil because they have no defense against it.
had messed with their power source, but that is no longer the case, so Hal isn't held back by colors. And really, that's not even the worst weakness a Green Lantern ever had.
Oh yeah, way back in the day, a Green Lantern went rogue and tried to take over a planet of people with crude wooden weapons. And so as a great little FU, the gods decided to make him weak to wood right before the blows started landing. Ah, good thing it's not a problem for Hal. Whether it be brightest day or blackest night, all should respect the emerald light of the Green Lantern. Or he'll willpower you to death, apparently.
Give up? Please say no.
You'll never catch me, Lantern.
Bang.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data.
Man, seeing these images of the old Green Lantern, the animated series, kind of makes me sad, man. That show had so much potential. I was so hoping that they would get into the entire War of Light storyline, and it just never panned out, and they canceled the show. All right, now before we get into the actual fight itself, I'm going to have to go ahead and correct myself at the beginning of the video. I said that I was going to give this to Hal Jordan because, you know, I'm a big DC guy and I'm a big Green Lantern guy and I love the whole mythos. But after having learned what I've learned through this video, I'm going to have to give it to Ben 10. I think he's more versatile, and I think that literally anything that Hal Jordan can throw at Ben 10 probably has a form to counter it. Simple as that. As many cool things as Green Lantern rings can do, they have too many weaknesses. Light constructs are only as strong as the creator makes them, and even then they've been smashed countless times. Even the most powerful Green Lanterns have had their constructs smashed to bits. So their power also varies wildly. Sometimes, you know, a regular tank shell will break a Green Lantern barrier. Other times it takes the combined forces of an entire planet to shoot a Green Lantern barrier and it still doesn't break. So it's very, very wishy-washy when it comes to the actual strength of light constructs. Green Lanterns also have a shared power pool, meaning the more Green Lanterns there are, the less powerful each one is. And I know that sounds weird, but that's just the way it is. The less Green Lanterns there are, the more powerful the ones that exist are. When you look at Larfreeze, look at the way his lantern works. There's only one of him. One guy with one lantern and one ring, but because he doesn't share his power with anyone, that one guy is strong enough to take on the entirety of multiple corps at once. He can fight the Sinestro Corps and the Green Lantern Corps at the same time by himself, because he doesn't have to share his power with anyone. On top of that, like I said, there's different types of rings. The rings are technology, and yes, Green Lantern technology rings can be hacked. And I'm not even talking about being hacked by some crazy alien computer or anything like that. Dude, a guy on Earth, a human on Earth, using an Earth-based laptop was able to hack Simon Baz's power ring and cause him to attack his own allies with light constructs. The ring and the Omnitrix are very similar. I think one is more versatile and more usable with less weaknesses. So, that being said, I'm going to have to give it to Ben 10. Let's go ahead and see what the fight says.
Hello! Green Lantern, best-looking guardian of Sector 2814, at your service.
I can give you 10 good reasons right now to let me go.
Sorry, kid. Seems you're carrying a Class A galactic superweapon. I'll just take this. Okay, that's interesting.
You're not the first doofus to try to take this. It's hero time!
Forearms!
Lights out, Punchy. Come on, kid. Let's stop this before it gets heated.
Too late. Hey, you ever seen a supernova?
Several, actually.
Ha! You're so lame. I bet I could even beat you as gray matter.
What? I didn't mean literally.
Cute.
Ew! I stepped in loser.
Yawn. This is Alien X. He controls all of reality. This is over.
I don't care what kind of power you got! In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power! Green Lantern's light! I don't care what kind of power.
Reality includes time.
Time, huh? Thanks for the tip.
You're not the first doofus to try to take this. It's hero time.
Ew, I stepped in loser. Oh, it hurts to laugh. Don't ask.
KO!
Well, that's another minor on
I disagree, but let's hear out their reasoning.
our board of death.
Ben's absurd versatility and ingenuity put up a stellar fight, but Hal had the tools and skills he needed to ensure a victory.
While the Omnitrix's millions of aliens is just nuts, he can only ever use one at a time, while Hal always has access to all of his powers.
Even with the flexibility of Master Control, this meant Ben was always playing catch-up. Not a great position to be in considering Green Lantern's might.
Ben's Diamond Head form was tough, sure, but he wasn't surviving a planet exploding in his face. Accelerate was wicked fast, but not fast enough to cross the universe in an hour. And Way Big was really strong, but he didn't hit as hard as a supernova.
Hal simply outclassed all of Ben's options, except for one.
Yeah, how the hell did Hal beat Alien X? That thing is basically omnipotent.
Well, not exactly. Celestial Sapiens are extremely powerful, but they can be beaten in battle and have failed in the past, like the time Alien X recreated the universe. He only did that because he couldn't stop it from being destroyed in the first place.
Alien X could definitely match a lot of Hal's power.
I feel like they're contradicting themselves, right? Because they're saying, oh, well, he couldn't stop the destruction of the universe, which is why he had to recreate it. Okay, well, earlier in the video, you told me you didn't even realize that the universe was being destroyed. So if you don't realize something is happening, then you're not even going to attempt to stop it. So if he can recreate it that easily, that means he could also have stopped it, but he just didn't notice. See what I'm saying? Like earlier in the video, they say he didn't notice the universe was being destroyed. And now they're telling us, oh, well, he couldn't have stopped it. Well, it seems like he could have if he noticed it. And then they're telling me that his failsafe wouldn't protect his arm, but will protect him from a supernova going off. I don't know, man. I kind of don't buy it. If the Omnitrix can react fast enough to flip through a bunch of forms and find one that can contain the Big Bang, but you can't defend against a pair of hard light construct scissors trying to cut your arm off, I kind of don't buy it. And like I said, the whole concept of time travel for Green Lanterns, it's not something that they just do willy-nilly. Time travel isn't really one of the standard powers listed for Green Lanterns. Otherwise, every Green Lantern would just be time traveling all over the place. Even the Guardians don't use time travel. It's not a normal thing for Green Lanterns. So to say that he used time travel to cut off Ben 10's arm is like two stretches of the lore, right? First off, you're stretching the fact that Hal Jordan's just going to time travel like that, even though it's not something even his character's known for doing. And then you're going to tell me that the Omnitrix has no defense against being against bodily harm after you've told me that it has a failsafe against bodily harm? Come on now.
But Hal had defenses against all of X's. Mind control? The ring protects Hal's head.
Like I said, mind control. Dude, Green Lanterns, including Hal Jordan, have been mind controlled multiple times through multiple various methods.
What time? Hal can do that too. Trying to wipe him from existence? Please, Green Lanterns can survive an entire universe being erased.
Likewise, Alien X has never shown any defenses against the same kinds of things that Hal could replicate, like mind control, transmutation, and time manipulation. Ben and his alien forms put up a great fight, and Alien X is easily one of the most powerful combatants we've ever seen on Death Battle. However, Hal had the speed, versatility, and literal willpower necessary to claim his victory.
Guess you could say Hal was definitely the ringer for this fight. Oh, whiz, don't be green with envy. That pun was 10 out of Ben.
The winner is Green Lantern.
As much as I love Hal Jordan, which he is my favorite Green Lantern of all time, I find that you can kind of tell what generation people are from or the kind of characters they like by learning which Flash and which Green Lantern they like. Typically, if they like a Hal Jordan Green Lantern, typically they like a Barry Allen Flash. Yet if they like a Kyle Rayner, they typically like a Wally West. So I don't know if that's true across the board, but in my experience, that has been the case. Anyways, as much as I love Green Lantern, Hal Jordan specifically, I kind of disagree. I kind of think Ben 10 should be the actual winner. I will say that if it were up to me, I probably would have done a different matchup. Example, I think a better matchup for Green Lantern would have been Nova from the Nova Corps. They're basically both space cops. They have many of the same powers. I think they're on the more of the same level. They basically even have the same job. They both have, gear that gives them ability. And most importantly, if we would have gotten a Green Lantern versus Nova Corps mashup, we would have gotten to see Ego the Living Planet take on Mogo the Living Planet, and that would have been dope. Aside from that, I would say honorable mentions would be the Beetle Scarab against Green Lantern, or Captain Marvel with his Negabands. That would have been a better option than Ben 10, at least in my opinion. If I were going to match Ben 10 up with someone else from comics, I would have to say that you could put him up against Metamorpho, right? Because Metamorpho is a sleeper character. For those of you who don't know who Metamorpho is, he's able to change his body into anything, period. There's really no limitations to what he can change into. It all comes down to how much he knows. The character of Rex Mason as Metamorpho, if he were to go out and get himself a doctorate in chemistry and biochemistry, he'd be practically unstoppable. Any kind of alien that you turn into, he could turn into something else to counter that. So I think that would be a better option to go up against Ben 10, but that's not even the one that I would really put him up against. If you really wanted to give Ben 10 a run for his money, throw him up against Amazo from DC Comics, right? There's the goofy elf looking Amazo, but if you really want to throw him against the wall, throw him up against the Amazo that actually reached his full potential, which was the Amazo that showed up in the DC animated universe. I think it was Justice League Unlimited he showed up in. Eventually he was silver, and he eventually turned into gold Amazo. Amazo could take anything Ben 10 throws at him and throw it right back in his face. Amazo could copy any form Ben 10 has. Amazo essentially acts like the Omnitrix with none of its weaknesses. Anytime Ben 10 turned into an alien, Amazo could look at him, scan it, take all of his powers and abilities, use them against Ben 10, and unlike Ben 10, who can only use those forms one at a time, Amazo can use all of his powers at once. All right, guys, that being said, I've said my piece. I think Ben 10 would win. I think Death Battle's wrong in this case. What do you guys think? Am I wrong? Did Death Battle get it right? Do you think Green Lantern would beat Ben 10, or would Ben 10 outmaneuver a Green Lantern with all of his different forms? What do you think about my suggestions? Do you think Green Lantern versus Nova would have been a better matchup? Do you think Ben 10 versus Amazo would have been a better matchup? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments. As always, I love doing these death battles, and if you enjoyed the reaction and want to see more death battles, hit that like button. Consider hitting that subscribe button to help the channel out, and most importantly, leave a comment down below. If you want to see more death battles, let me know which one you want to see. If you want me to check out other videos, leave those suggestions down below as well, and we can get to them. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching the video. Take care of yourselves and have a great day.